An animal shelter with more than 50 dogs and 30 cats. While this might not seem like many to some, the problem is why some say there are so many.
At 6, we told you about complaints and state investigations into the Callaway Hills Animal Shelter in part 2 of a Target 8 investigation. KOMU8's Alex Arger talked to 2 women who want to adopt. One of the 2 has very emotional circumstances. She wants her dog back.
After my first story aired about Callaway Hills in February, I started getting a ton of Facebook messages from people who tried to adopt and were turned down. Their messages made me want to look deeper, and I found many people with the same story. The shelter's owner says it's trying to do its best for its dogs, but some who have volunteered or tried to adopt disagree.
Good girl, Abby.
Erin Van Loo spends all day, every day, around dogs. She has been a groomer for 21 years. Plus, she has 8 dogs of her own.
Hey, this is what a dog should have, a couch.
She tried adopting this dog, Peyton, from Callaway Hills Animal Shelter in 2017, but she was turned away. And where is Peyton now?
He's still living there. I had all the qualifications that I needed, I felt, but they just don't want to give him up. And, you know, they could have great homes, and they just don't want to turn them loose for some reason, and we don't know why.
A former volunteer says the shelter's in-depth application process is almost impossible to pass. Sandy Hempy used to go through the applications, and when she felt a home would be a good fit, she claimed she turned the application over to the owner, Tony Weldon.
She would let me know if they were approved or not.
So she had like the final say?
Yes.
Okay.
She had the only say.
Hempy claims applications were turned down over and over again, sometimes for no reason at all. When I previously interviewed Weldon, she said denying an application is never personal, and it's often because the living situation isn't right for the dog.
I'll admit, applications have fallen through the cracks. We've lost a few good homes. We're not perfect. There's very few of us here. But we make mistakes, we do the best we can, but we don't strive to not adopt animals out.
One animal living at Callaway Hills is Jack.
Jack is a good friend to me.
Lisa Reber was Jack's owner. In 2016, she was going through a divorce and thought it would be best for Jack to put him in a new home. She took him to Callaway Hills and almost immediately regretted it.
So I filled out an application and I waited. And they never called me, so I kept calling them. And they never returned my calls. They refused to talk to me.
After a year of this empty cage, Reber said she needed Jack home again. So she went to Callaway Hills on Christmas Eve, 2017. She said it was cold and Jack was shivering.
So I went to his cage, and the cage was unlocked. So I took him, and I took him home. And, well, they called the police, and I was arrested.
She was charged with stealing an animal, a Class D felony. Reber wasn't allowed back at the shelter for a year after the arrest, and she hasn't seen Jack since. But she decided the day of my interview with her, she was going to go back to Callaway Hills for the first time since Christmas Eve, 2017.
Let's go get Jack and bring him home.
After an employee let Reber into the locked gates, she said Reber wasn't allowed to see Jack because the shelter is now open by appointment only. But Reber walked to Jack's cage anyway and petted him for the first time in a year and 4 months.
I'm gonna get you out. I'm gonna get you out one way or the other, baby.
The employee asked Reber to leave, and after continuously being told she couldn't make an appointment to see Jack, Reber left the shelter without him.
I hope he can hang on, because I've never given up. I've never given up, and now I'm going to fight like hell.
Reber says this is the first step in a new battle to get Jack back. More than 200 people have liked a Facebook page called Bring Jack Home, which shares Reber's story. The Callaway Hills employee told Reber she needed to leave partly because of this page, but Reber claims she didn't know it existed. I reached out to Callaway Hills Animal Shelter multiple times for its side of the story, but have not heard back. For more on the complaints, inspections, and experiences with Callaway Hills Animal Shelter, visit our website, KOMU.com. In the studio, Alex Arger, KOMU 8 News.